How to talk to your friend about their pornography habit. So your friend or young person that you're mentoring has asked you to keep them accountable regarding their internet viewing habits. Maybe you've received a Covenant Eyes report that they've been viewing pornography. And you're wondering, what do I do? What do I say? As a reference, I think you can remember your own experiences with breaking any unwanted habit, maybe overeating or avoiding exercise or controlling your temper. Keep this in mind as I discuss 9 suggestions from my experience and adapted from Covenant Eyes and elaborate on them, mostly very briefly. The points are: 1. Set aside time to talk. 2. Listen first. 3. Work at their speed. 4. Praise small progress. 5. Ask your friend how you can support them. 6. Plan preventative steps. 7. Tap the power of positive motivation. 8. Tap the power of negative motivation. 9. Know your limits. So let's begin. First, set aside time to talk. Arrange for a face-to-face or phone conversation. Email is convenient, but it doesn't convey much warmth, and it's more easily misunderstood. Take time to talk to them directly. And do this regularly, not just when there's a problem to discuss, but especially when there's some progress to celebrate. Number 2, listen first. You can never go wrong by encouraging your friend to talk first about what they did, why they did it, and what they think and feel about it. Asking skillful questions is the real hallmark of any good coaching or counseling. So the best thing is to ask helpful questions that get them talking and thinking about themselves and what they feel and think about things. At some point in the first few conversations, ask them about their habit in very practical detail. How often do you view pornography? How often do you masturbate? When do you usually look at porn? What time of day? What time of the week? Where? What room specifically? Under what circumstances? Is it usually after a tiring day? Is it after a fight with your spouse or other partner? When no one else is at home or when no one's in the office? When you're bored? Tense? Ask them, what do you do afterwards? Do they sleep? Do they take a shower? What do they do? And finally, 2 vital questions to have them answer very, very honestly. What do you like about the habit? What do you enjoy? What are the benefits that you find that are hard to give up? And then also, what do you dislike about it? What do you really find uncomfortable or problematic for you? Not just what you're supposed to dislike about it, but what do you actually dislike about it? What are the disadvantages that you're very much aware of? Now, sometimes the value of these questions is that they may never have really thought about some of these things. They maybe just automatically just indulge their habit and don't think about it. And usually they've never talked out loud about this, and it's extremely valuable. Saying it out loud to someone who's accepting and non-judgmental gives them a sense of objectivity and control. It puts it out beyond themselves, takes it out of their head and from within, and allows them to talk about it, and if they can talk about it, they can do something about it. It also may effectively help them pray about it for the first time. And of course, it gives you plenty of information to use to assist them. It also gives you a good sense of how much insight they have or don't have about themselves and the habit, and therefore what kind of help they may need from you. Remember, if you do nothing else, if you have no idea what to say to them, asking questions that help them think through and understand themselves better will always be valuable. You're drawing out of them their own wisdom, and often if you ask them the right questions, their own conscience and life experience will give them the perfect guidance they need right now. 3, work at their speed. Now this one will require a bit of a longer explanation. A good coach stands alongside the person and may nudge them, but never pushes too hard. It's really easy for us to impose our own ideas, even indirectly, about how quickly and completely they should stop their habit. Our religion certainly provides pressure in that direction. It should be stopped now. And we may think that this is the way to go. They may want to aim for this goal themselves, but it may not be realistic, and it may cause them to get discouraged and drop out of the process altogether. Remember, a feeling of failure and guilt is the biggest enemy to change. If they feel embarrassed over their inability to achieve an unrealistic goal, if they feel ashamed to face you because they couldn't make it, they may stop talking to you and they may just give up completely. So find out how fast they think they can go. If they want to stop cold turkey, great, support them. That can often be quite effective, and it really suits certain personalities. But often, the idea of tapering off is a better option. Many people get scared to think that they can't indulge this soothing habit ever again. Don't even force them to go there. Stopping gradually helps them adjust their lives to living without the habit over time, and it may produce a much more lasting result. Think about, for example, how slow weight loss is always advocated as the best way to go. So suggest they taper off how often they give in to their habit. If it's now, let's say, 4 times a week, aim for 3. And try to help them sustain that for 3 or 4 weeks until they can show they can keep it up, until they can prove to themselves that they can do it. And then maybe aim a bit more ambitious, maybe only 2 times a week, and so on. Another approach to consider is to divide and conquer. Separate the habits. Porn is more damaging than masturbation. And some do better if they can reduce the porn while they keep up their masturbation, at least in the beginning. And then in this kind of approach, after a while, as the porn is easing off, go for the next goal with the masturbation habit. But it's not to just have them start reducing that frequency. Instead of trying to just gradually reduce it, encourage them to first learn how to masturbate differently, without images. That is, ask them not to look at anyone or think of anyone when they're masturbating, to control their imagination. Do it more like a child does. Just focus on the bodily sensations. Challenge them to practice remaining grounded in their bodies while masturbating. And if their mind starts imagining people and images, gently just guide it back to focusing on their body. We're trying to get a complete separation of masturbation and porn, to pull porn away from their masturbation habit entirely. And one more point related to speed. Expect bumps in the road. Expect lapses once in a while back into the habit. When stress piles up and your friend gets hit with too many things at once, expect them to possibly revert back to past behavior. This is common. Suddenly they are looking at porn every day again. We all tend to regress like this. For example, maybe overeating when the heat is on at work. Help them understand that this is not the end of the world, but it's a valuable learning experience. They were unprepared for the stress, and now they can better prepare for it for the next time. Ask them, what were the sources of stress? How could you handle it better next time? 4. Praise small progress. Look for the little improvements over time and show them that you notice them. Remind them that they have made progress even in the midst of any setbacks. Let's say they were aiming to abstain for 40 days, and then they lapsed after 2 weeks. 2 weeks is still quite an achievement. And continuing to try is something they should always be proud of. 5. Ask your friend how you can support them. You've discovered from your own experience that well-intentioned efforts to support someone can backfire if it's not the kind of help they need. We've all been the unfortunate recipients of other people's attempts to help that only prove to be a problem. Find out what kind of help they want from you. Is it to be able to call you when they're stressed? To get a friendly text during the week? To help them analyze stressful situations? For advice in handling a difficult relationship? Do they want to know that you're praying for them? They may have little idea what they need at first, but over time they may develop a very good sense of what is and is not valuable for them. Ask them, when you indulge your habit, what's the best way for me to encourage you? How would you like me to challenge you? Toss around ideas together to see what might work best. 6. Plan preventative steps. Explore with them the patterns in their lives that seem to lead to the wrong use of the internet. You both got some idea of this from earlier questions. Then brainstorm ways to disrupt these patterns, to put up walls between them and temptation. And remember that reducing the negative habit is only half the solution. The other half is building up the positives to replace the habit. After a few weeks of focus on the habit itself, discuss how your friend might put into place healthier habits and take advantage of the resources they have to address the real needs that the habit is now covering up. Let's face it, the habit is a substitute for what they really need. How can they go after those things over time and address those needs? 7. Tap the power of positive motivation. Help them to access the positive reasons why they want to quit. Ask your friend, what do you have to gain by resisting these temptations? What kind of person do you want to become? These are very important motivating factors. Take note of what they say and remind them of these reasons in the future when they may forget and get discouraged. 8. Harness the power of negative motivation. The fear of pain is often a stronger motivation than the hope of greater happiness. So help them get in touch with healthy fears around never changing. Ask them, if you continue to indulge in this habit, what do you stand to lose in your life? Some people may need to do more research about the hazards of porn to really be able to answer this question. But also keep in mind that the fear of future pain related to the habit often seems quite dim compared to the fear of dealing with the pain of today without the comfort of their habit. Think how easy it is for us to grab a donut to relieve stress and just blow off the fear of gaining weight. Empathize with them how hard it is to give up habits, even as you nudge them to remember why they fear not changing. And finally, 9, know your limits. This means 2 things. First, be careful to protect yourself. Don't go in too much explicit detail about the porn they're viewing, such that it's damaging to you. And second, sometimes other people need to be brought into this accountability relationship. It might be a parent or partner, it might be a mentor or a spiritual leader or a counselor. Be mindful of when you may need some extra help or someone else needs to know what's going on. By the way, at Pure Mind Online, we'd like to provide a forum or other means for accountability partners to get together and compare notes and get some of the added support they need. So that's it, the 9 suggestions. To remind you, set aside time to talk, listen first, work at their speed, praise small progress, ask your friend how you can support them, plan preventative steps, tap the power of positive motivation, tap the power of negative motivation, and know your limits. I hope this has been helpful. The role of accountability partner is a precious opportunity for God to work through us to convey His unconditional love and wisdom. May God bless your efforts to support your friend.